Pull my stomach in, but I have- Oh, Jared Weeds, when he had the hashtag kids, he bought that there.
Are you going to speak about this? Really impressed with Ryan's toes there.
Yeah, they were clowning around. Oh, that, I got a thank you note from Jared for coming to the dinner. I should be thanking him for.
Which dinner?
Oh, I'll show it to you.
I was quite impressed. You look very strong.
Oh, when we were doing with the students, yeah.
This one. There. No, that-
Sweater didn't give out on me there when I did that. That's awesome.
I mean, I really think we could replace this photo with that. I mean, do a little cropping.
It would go a lot better up there, I think.
I know,
His name.
they zoomed us in that year. Made us larger than
New
life.
photographer.
What are you talking about?
The size of my picture. They're huge.
The three of us that came in together,
Yeah.
we're zoomed in more than you
It's
guys.
so scary.
Yeah.
You're supposed to stand out. You're the new people.
Speaking for, we got a big head. Bob's newer and he's not. zoomed in like it.
The shoulders are supposed to be within the picture. So it's really two.
It's just like all my face.
Yeah. The pictures of them. So
He's the one that.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I mean, that's true. That's for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cropping, your shoulders are supposed to be.
Kansas City, Kansas is trying to hire me. Dr. Ruda. Kansas City, Kansas is trying to hire me.
Over my
No,
dead
we're
body.
just done with that.
They need a license.
Oh.
And it was addressed, addressed to LCPC. That's me. What are we in trouble? CPK licensed professional who will not only provide quality care for our students.
I already told you no. I don't know why we're even going back to that.
I mean, they don't even know how old I am.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
That can't be a factor anymore. That cannot be a factor anymore.
When you're,
Age
when
cannot
you're
be a
old as I
factor.
am, it has to be a factor.
You just tell me how you'll come up there with $2 million.
Shoot. Well, the darndest thing is 1986, I interviewed there. And that was when Marge Blank, she had been the dean of students like forever. And they decided that they probably, I mean, the word I got later was that they thought she and I would probably be so much alike, they needed fresh blood. So they hired Ty Patterson. And they said from day one, it was a lot of fun with Ty.
Guys, are you ready?
Oh, yeah, I'll shut up now.
Right, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order for Garden City Community College Board of Trustees. There you go. For April 12th, 2022, I have that it is 6:03. And we'll go ahead and get started with a few comments. Can everybody hear me? Judy? Okay. All right. This past weekend in Denver, Colorado, Dr. Ruda received the 2022 Paragon President Award from Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. Students nominated the recipients on their campus. The award recognizes college presidents who have supported student success initiatives leading to stronger pathways to completion, transfer, and employment. They have taken an active interest in supporting high achieving students and developing student leaders on campus. These college presidents have students first leadership styles and have made it a priority to keep students engaged throughout the pandemic, says Phi Theta Kappa President and CEO, Dr. Lynn Titchener-Ladner. Their nomination is evidence of the gratitude their PTK students feel for supporting them and students like them, even during some most difficult times. Dr. Ruda was one of 20 recipients across the country who were selected from among 426 college presidents, chancellors, and CEOs eligible to receive this award. Congratulations. One other comment today, the 2022 Kansas Minority Business Summit was held here on campus. This event brought together several minority businesses, owners, and entrepreneurs from across the state to provide resources, information, and networking opportunities aimed at helping their businesses prosper. We appreciate Dr. Ruda and the teams here on campus working to make this a great event and highlighting our campus across the state. Thank you very much.
Total team effort. It's great to be with those.
I might add that Dr. Ruda was the first speaker, so got him in the mood. Okay, SGA report.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rosa Arroyo. I am the SGA treasurer, and I'm going to get started with the highlights for SGA first. So SGA is helping out with the experience workshop. We are also coming together with Math and Science Club to host the Earth Day. We're also hosting the awards banquet April 27th at the Big Gym from 5:30 to 8. Moving on to Halo. They have the end of the year bash with the students. They're also coming together with Residence Life. And they have activities with SGA and Resident Life. Moving on to Student Center. The game room is fully open. They hosted a pool tournament on Sunday, March 27th. And they also had the March Madness watch party on April 4th. They also hosted the bowling on April 3rd. And they're going to have the Easter egg hunt April 13th. Quiz Bowl is going to state this April. Now, our club is taking an art trip to Kansas area at our museums. They're trying to partner up with the high school. And PTK is also doing the Easter egg hunt for community daycare. Halo is also hosting the Earth Day with Math and Science and SGA to create the birdhouses. Rodeo is hosted the college rodeo with up to 400 contestants. Meets is bringing high schoolers to campus. They also went to Alta Brown to inform the youth and interacted with them. Moving on to golf, they had the conference tournament, district, and nationals. Track hosted a first home track meet in 4 years. Lastly, criminal justice had a concession stand at the rodeo. The endowment security was hosted April 8th. The scenario day will be hosted April 21st, and the drug awareness also on April 21st. They will be working on bringing recycling to the campus.
Awesome.
That's all for the clubs. Do you guys have any questions?
Questions for Rosa? Tell me about the recycling. What's your plan?
Well, they have been getting in contact with the city to bring recycling it was meant for Earth Day, but we haven't heard back from them, but we're still getting in contact with them. But for Earth Day, we did hosted a river cleanup with most of the clubs.
I already put the year-end bash on my calendar. Thanks for the invite. Or were you invited?
Any other questions?
I know in the past that several groups had certain areas around campus to clean up.
What was that,
Still
sorry?
doing that?
What was that?
We had the different groups had certain areas that they cleaned up, like criminal justice had the obstacle course area. Art had around fine arts, and the different clubs cleaned up campus, certain spots. Do you guys still do that?
No, I don't think so.
That way somebody doesn't have to do the whole thing.
Great,
Very
thank you,
good.
Rosa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Introduction of new employees.
So this is Scott,
Kidrowski.
team effort here. He's our new Dean for Advancement and Alumni Relations. Scott brings over 14 years of administrative experience. For the past 5 years, he served as the Special Initiative Director for Russell Child Development Center. In this role, he was responsible for fund development and management of their Building a Brighter Future campaign. He also assisted in writing successful grants varying from state tax credit to foundation grants. He is a native of Nebraska, and he attended and graduated from Chadron State College with a Bachelor of Science degree in Physical Education and Health. He later attended the Harvard of the Plains in Hays, Kansas, where he graduated with a Master's of Science in Health, Physical Education, and Recreation, other known as Fort Hays State, sorry. So, welcome.
Scott, didn't you move here from Kansas City, Kansas? I sat at a table one time when he first came. And that's
Yeah,
kind of
I
how I
was a-
remembered it.
I was a special education administrator for Kansas City, Kansas Public
That's
Schools
right.
for 9 years as well.
That's right.
You gotta let that part out. I disappeared from this. I worked for Russell for a year, and then I went to Kansas City, Kansas, where I was a special education director for 9 years.
Well, we're glad to have you.
I am absolutely thrilled to be here. I tell you what, I don't, am I supposed to talk? I don't know. I love being here. It's been a
God
week.
knows no strangers.
It's been a week. It's been a week, but it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I look forward to working with you guys. And I look forward to the things we have planned in the future. It's going to be an amazing ride together.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Ruby, go ahead and come on up. Okay, next up, we have Ruby Solorzano. Ruby is our new full-time financial aid records office assistant. A native of Garden City, Kansas, Ruby recently graduated from Garden City Community College with an Associate's of Arts degree. Since 2018, Ruby served as a barista for Starbucks, where she gained valuable skills such as a trainer, strong customer service, time management, and adaptability. We are excited to have Ruby on board. Please welcome Ruby Solorzano.
Yeah.
I have the privilege of introducing Judy Ursek, who will be serving as the new full-time Penka Building Secretary. Originally from Holcomb, Kansas, Judy brings with her 27 years of experience in healthcare, serving in roles such as Health Information Management Associate and Credentialing and Records Specialist. Judy received her Associate of Arts degree from here in mass media, and we're very, very lucky to have her on board with us.
Thank you. All right, next item is executive session. And I believe there's a motion to be read. Leonard, I think it's at your desk.
Madam Chair, I move that the board recess into executive session to discuss an individual employee's performance pursuant to the open meeting exception for personnel matters of non-elected personnel, which if discussed in open meeting would violate their right to privacy, and that our president be included upon request. The open meeting will resume here in the endowment room in 30 minutes.
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second for executive session. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. We're in adjourned for 30 minutes.
There's John.
He said it's cold outside.
It's 77.
A little closer to the mountains here though, too. A little closer to the mountains.
It is 6:47. We're back in open session. Closed our executive session. There was no action taken in our executive session. So we are moving on to our consent agenda. We need to pull A, please. A. A. We will be pulling item D and doing that separate. Okay. And then item H will also be pulled.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept consent agenda for approval with B, B1, B2, C, C1, C2, C3, C4, E, F, and I. Did I miss anything?
Okay, she started with B, so she didn't. All right, I'm gonna make an addendum on item E. We need to make that a verbal
Oh,
item, so we'll pull that one also.
okay, sorry, I missed that one.
My bad too. So do you want to restate your motion?
Madam Chair. Approve the consent agenda items B, B1, B2, C, C1, C2, C3, C4, F, and I.
Is that all the right letter? Okay, can I have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items B, C, F, and I. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion carries. So we'll go back to item A.
I was not here last time.
I was
That's
wondering
it.
about
That's
that.
as soon as you said that.
Yep, just cross me off and I'm good to go on that.
I thought it was a little quiet that meeting.
All right. Let's go to item, should we do item D? Okay. The authorization of the COP sale resolution. So we have a new document that's on your table.
Do we have a number for that one? 2022 what? Dash what?
Two. No renewals. So it's three. There's three. Two more. All right, I'll have Dr. Ruda and Mr. Haas go ahead and give a brief introduction and then we'll proceed with the resolution.
John, I'll invite you up there and brief. and I-
Brief.
John, you there? John, hey, John.
That's on here. You are here this time.
We can hear you this time.
Man, that was like, I'm sure you were frustrated. I was. Just a little bit.
If you want, we can put you in the closet. You can
There you
zoom
go.
from there.
I'll be the same thing. Have you talk into the microphone for those that are on Zoom, please? Sure they can hear me? We're gonna hope so.
Might have to turn, I don't know if it's on. Tap it.
See, that's why I know how to turn the car on. Drive out of here. Try that. Anyway, it's great to be here this evening. In your February meeting, you passed a resolution of intent for specific improvements for the college, and on this sheet down at the bottom, there's an itemization with estimated cost for each of those projects. Principal amount 5.2 million, including the cost of issuance with that. That was published twice with a not to exceed for total bond and interest payments. Published twice, 30-day, subject to 30-day notice of protest. I believe that was not protested. The bad news is that we did a deal for Fort Scott Community College back in December and started running that with you guys then. And then interest rates were up about 40 basis points. And then in February, we went numbers. Now they're up another 70 basis points. So then all the way through. This would be the plan of finance at this point in time, given today's interest rates. We still have, I think, $400,000 for additional. So we're probably still 50 basis points away from hitting a cap. If we have a cap. The only change that I'm aware of in the document that were drafted and those that new ones on your desk is that we allow an underwriter discount for the bonds and bond counsel to 1.25%. That's something that they will do. So that's the only change in that. Also, some of the attached documents that has the bid form. We're going to update numbers before we mail that 2 weeks ahead of time. I'll get with your staff. The goal is to keep your payments less than $500,000 a year. So if interest rates continue to rise, push that out. If they go down, then we can shorten that up. But again, the goal is not to see that. Again, I'll work with staff on. I see lots of improvements.
Empirical, it's a meat processing.
Pardon?
Meat processing, empirical.
And I bring that up because her will be approving the agreement with the standard of works for an interview, and all those things are going to help us maintain a plus. So those are important things. So within the next week or two, we'll have a rating interview, and then a week for the stuff. Good rating, present a surprise.
Last year it went well.
Yeah.
All I had to say was Garden City is a unique place, and in the middle of a pandemic, they opened a Old Navy retail store very successfully, and they go, really? No, I had more to say than that, but that,
Have you got a lot of
Great, those places are closing and we're
Expanding.
expanding.
So the resolution tonight is basically approves the calling for the sale of securities May 10th.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was in testing last night. May 10th, we'll take this at 10 in the morning. Get with staff. Talk about, make sure that we want to get approval, but talk
the buyout. So, any questions from the board?
So you mentioned that we do have a little wiggle room, or you said there's room before the cap. And that's what I meant. So if interest rates were to climb a little bit more, that's how much we have to wiggle with. Okay, gotcha.
And I don't know, again, you told me quick, but I can't do anything quick, is that if we do hit the cap, we could segregate projects out. With capital projects versus.
Bless you.
And that will be up to you guys. If that's done or not. And everything you do, of course, you got like. Full knowledge.
Sure.
But it's always best to go under what the published amount is, and hopefully things will calm down. However, I am getting 10% of my lots next month. So it's not good right now.
All right, thanks, John. So then with the new resolution that is at each of your seats, that does reflect the changes that John was talking about there on the underwriter's discount, reflecting 1.5.
Okay. So board, I suggest that we go ahead and complete this item. And then we can proceed with the rest of the consent agenda.
Is this one of those that it has to be read with the motion?
It is.
All right, I'll make the motion. We approve this resolution. Ready?
Second.
Resolution authorizing the offering for sale of lease purchase agreement certificates of participation series 2022 of Garden City Community College, Pinney County, Kansas. Be it resolved by the governing body of Garden City Community College, Pinney County, Kansas as follows. Section 1, Garden City Community College, Pinney County, Kansas. The college is hereby authorized to offer at competitive public sale approximately $5,200,000 principal amount of certificates of participation series 2022, evidencing proportionate interest in and rights to receive payments under a lease purchase agreement. The series 2022 certificates as described in the notice of sale of lease purchase agreement certificates of participation. The notice of certificate sale attached hereto as Exhibit A in the preliminary official statement referenced herein. Section 2, Ransom Financial Group LLC, Wichita, Kansas, financial advisor, is hereby authorized and directed to receive bids on behalf of the college for the purchase of the Series 2022 certificates on May 10th, 2022, upon the terms and conditions set forth in said notice of certificate sale, and to deliver all bids so received to the governing body at its meeting to be held on such date at said time and place, at which meeting the governing body shall review such bids and shall approve a bid or reject all bids. Section 3, the notice of certificate sale is hereby approved in substantially the form attached hereto as Exhibit A, with such changes and additions thereto as the Vice President for Administrative Services, CFO, shall deem necessary or appropriate, and to use such document in connection with the public sale of the Series 2022 certificates. Section 4, the preliminary official statement is hereby approved in substantially the form presented to the governing body this date, with such changes or additions as the chairperson and vice president for administrative services, CFO, shall deem necessary and appropriate, and such officials and other representatives of the college are hereby authorized to use such document in connection with the public sale of the Series 2022 certificates. Section 5, the vice president for administrative services, CFO, in conjunction with the financial advisor and Gilmore and Bell, PC, Wichita, Kansas, bond counsel, is hereby authorized and directed to give notice of said sale, transmitting copies of the notice of certificate sale and preliminary official statement to prospective purchasers of the Series 2022 certificates. Section 6, for the purpose of enabling the purchaser of the Series 2022 certificates, the purchaser to comply with the requirements of Rule 15C2-12 of the Securities Exchange Commission, the rule The appropriate officers of the college are hereby authorized, A, to provide the purchaser a letter or certification to the effect that the college deems the information contained in the preliminary official statement to be final as of its date, except for the omission of such information as is permitted by the rule. B, covenant to provide continuous secondary market disclosure by annually transmitting certain financial information and operating data and other information necessary to comply with the rule to certain national repositories and the municipal securities rulemaking board as applicable. And C, take such other actions or execute such other documents as such officers in their reasonable judgment deem necessary to enable the purchaser to comply with the requirement of the rules. Section 7, the college agrees to provide the purchaser within 7 business days of the date of the sale of Series 2022 certificates or within sufficient time to accompany any confirmation that requests payment from any customer or the purchaser, whichever is earlier, sufficient copies of the final official statement to enable the purchaser to comply with the requirements of Rule 15C2-12, 3, and 4 of the Securities and Exchange Commission and with the requirements of Rule G32 of the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board. Section 8, the chairperson, secretary, vice president for administrative services, CFO, and the other officers and representatives of the college, the financial advisor, and bond counsel are hereby authorized and directed to take such action as may be necessary to carry out the public sale of the Series 2022 certificates. Section 9, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption. That's what I do.
Good job.
Well
That's
done.
what I said.
Well done.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2022-3. I thought for the benefit of our public, I'll let Dr. Ruda just explain the plans of purchase and the length of the bond.
Absolutely. So with this particular debt service, there are specific projects that we have outlined. Those projects would be the turf replacement and the track respray that will be conducted at the athletic fields. Production copiers, so being able to replace the copiers in the print shop. The digital video board at the athletic complex. Cosmetology school remodel, and then the STEM building addition and remodel that is part of the Title V grant. Those are the projects that would be included within this specific COP. Specifically within this, the issuance size is 5.2 million. And this would take us out through 2035 with this particular debt service. So as we've gone through and as John had alluded to there as well, our intent and plan as we've looked at things administratively is to be able to keep the total annual payments at or below 500,000, which you can see is reflected within the combined annual payments that are outlined on the debt service schedule. So we feel as comfortable as we can in the days and the age that we live in, but feel like these are projects that are absolutely listed within our master's facilities plan and help to be able to address and move the college forward with some deferred maintenance as well as new additions.
Does this resolution have to go through the whole process before we can, like, say, order the printer, production printer?
No, in fact, we've already, the production printers are already in place. We just, when we close this, we just have to do some required documents that we had purchases prior to the financing date.
When you pass the notice and protest stage, you have authority to purchase any of these projects.
Okay.
At that point in time, unless you had cash on hand. If you order them before then, you have to have cash on hand. So if it failed, you would have cash basis and then you would pay for that. Okay. So if the intent is that to go ahead and bond that, then you can reimburse whatever cash for this particular project from the bonders. We definitely have bonding authority
That's good. I know we needed it, so
Mhm,
especially with commencement coming up.
correct.
Board, any other questions or discussion? Are we ready to vote? Okay, all those in favor of approving the COP resolution number 2022-3, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Right. Right.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for coming out.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah,
This is much
thank you.
better. I enjoyed the drive out.
Yeah.
Nobody enjoys the drive out here.
Oh, no, it's fine. One sideways on 400. Yeah, the thunderstorms were, I think they're gonna be a little bit east of where I live, so. Even though I did pack some things in case it did get nasty. But thank you for asking.
All right.
Yep.
Be careful.
Safe trip.
All right. Board, I'm gonna we'll leave item A. I think we can do all of these together as we'll just discuss each item next. Oh,
We've already
no,
approved it.
we didn't approve A yet. Okay, let's approve item A. We'll just do one at a time then.
I move that we approve the correction in the people present at our last meeting.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes as amended. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Item E, extension of the presidential contract. I make a motion that we extend President Ruta's contract one more year.
Second.
Is that clear enough?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I should say add one more year to the current contract.
yeah.
Okay. Right, right. So it's a total of a 3-year contract. Adding this next year.
Correct.
Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a rolling term.
right.
And we're gonna.
Bob,
continue going.
second.
All right, I made the motion. Bob seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item G. Classroom furniture.
I have 2 questions. Yeah. I know in your report to us, you talked about it being a state contract. We don't have to go out for bids. What's that going to look like to our local vendors?
Well, there's not local bidders that would be able to compete with the equipment and classroom furniture that we have presented. So, you know, as we have this, it's not using a state bid to be able to circumvent going out for bid, but it is about being able to have competitive bids. And with what it is that we have presented here, there's not competitive bids that would be in place there with this particular furniture.
Well, the reason I ask, and I know when law enforcement was upgraded and expanded, we had local vendors that bid and won the contract.
Mhm.
They had the resources. Secondly, I know looking through all these furnitures and stuff, has anybody tested those out to make sure that they're comfortable, reliable,
Yes.
and learning?
Yeah, and I'll yield to Mark here, but before I yield, I would commend the work there that took place. This isn't just bringing a recommendation forward that says this is what we believe to be the best furniture. There was a very thorough process or instruction that included faculty and was led by faculty to be able to test. They brought out furniture to be able to look at it, feel it, sit in it. So there was a very thorough process, and I commend the work that was done by Mark, but I'll yield to him on that.
And really, faculty and Dean Terpstra, Carla helped. We looked at Fort Hayes, a sample classroom, a test classroom. We looked then at Wichita State at a test classroom. We brought sample furniture out that Carla and really the whole team liked, and faculty unanimously said absolutely not. So it really has been pretty thorough. Does that give you an answer?
Yes. Again, from past experience of being in that position, getting stuff out here and then nobody liked it.
Yeah, and I'll just add that on another project, I worked with Scott Rice, only they were out of Kansas City, and very thorough company to work with, in my opinion, and with the steel case product. Sometimes so thorough that it's frustrating because of the timing, but you know, it's a huge investment, so it's important that we do it correctly.
That's all I.
Okay. Any other questions? Discussion for item G.
I moved to accept the classroom furniture, item G, 3G.
I'll second that.
Dave made a motion and Beth seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item H, we are not voting on tonight, but I have, Dr. Ruda would like to explain what's going on with that briefly.
Yeah, so last week, and as we've gone through the COP, you know, you can see that we do have the cost for the new STEM building that's been incorporated and built into this. If you backtrack and rewind about a year ago when we first started this, the grant process and really working towards the conversation of the STEM edition, a lot of where we were at that time, there was a project total of around 2.8 to 3 million. As we fast forward and we start taking a look at what, you know, everything that's happened with supply chain, cost of materials, about 2 months ago, we, you know, just through conversations with Njcaa at Gibson Mancini on the other projects that have gone out for bid recently, there's been quite a few increases, particularly in steel, concrete, that have led to a higher bidding coming through on those projects. So at that point in time, we felt like the project that we have proposed for the STEM Center 2 months ago was going to be coming in closer to 3.7, 3.8. Last week, we had the bid openings for our STEM Center. We had 3 local competitors, construction companies, Lee Construction, American Warrior Construction, and Dick Construction, that each proposed, brought forward bids. It was a competitive bid process. Dick Construction was the low bid on the project, and their low bid was just a bit over 4.2 million. So through these conversations, we did not want to bring or feel comfortable in bringing a recommendation for you here tonight. Through conversations that we've had here administratively, we have been working with Dick and Nick Njcaa to be able to look at ways that we can cut down the cost of some of what's been proposed in order to bring you a proposal here in the next week for your review and consideration. A couple of things that are kind of leading to, you know, obviously the supply chain and the cost of materials, but the other aspect, because this is a federal grant, the funding that is going to come from a majority of this building is coming from the Title V grant. Federal monies, anytime federal monies are used, then it becomes what's called Davis Bacon. So you're paying prevailing wages for your contractors, for your subcontractors, which does increase the cost there as well. So there are several other factors that are compounding things. We feel very confident and comfortable and have been, as I mentioned, working back with Dick Construction and Nick Njcaa have addressed, and they have found some ways to be able to not cut corners, not cut costs, not lose any of the integrity of the building or the intent of what it is that we have designed for the building. But there are some cost savings that they have identified, and over the course of this next week, we'll be working with them to talk through what those cost savings are. And then I would respectfully ask that we look at a special board meeting here within the next week, once we have those changes talked through with both Dick Construction and Nick, and we will be able to come forward and present you with what we feel is a very strong project, and one that is within the realm of what it is that financially is feasible. So I think as we're looking, and we could talk dates tonight, but as I talked with Nick here earlier today, there was a couple of additional subcontractors that he was waiting to hear back on some renewed pricing. So we're thinking that within this next week that we will have the finalized revisions that we could take a look. Right now, the date that I kind of talked with him, and I had said that we would visit tonight and see if we can come up with dates. We'd be looking, since we're going to be closed for Easter here this Friday and next Monday, would be looking at possibly the Monday, April 25th. If that would work in your calendars, to kind of hold that as a special meeting at 7:30 in the morning, for the only agenda item to be the STEM Center selection of contractor and approval of bids.
All right, I appreciate the explanation, and so the finalization of the special meeting will be decided shortly, and Jody can send us emails and let us know, but tentatively we'll shoot for Monday, April 25th.
Anyone have conflicts with that date?
7:30 in the morning.
Yes, sir. Breakfast will be served.
Some good donuts. Marie food.
Okay. All right, so we are not voting on item H, so the consent agenda is complete. All right, moving on to item 3, confirmation of monitoring reports. We have Shanda to report on A1 executive limitations, or job description number 6. The report from endowment.
Jeremy has said we are in better financial position than that we ever have in his tenure. They've changed how some of the endowed funds are allocated. In the past, it was always guess a number that you're going to pay, and you pay that number, and then if the market didn't match it, it was just a loss for the endowment. So this, on the advice of the auditors, should be very beneficial going forward. They've taken a lot of the smaller, unsustainable scholarships, and even these smaller donations that we get that aren't large enough to be their own endowed scholarship, and combining them in some memorial scholarships. And we'll have a large wall plaque with all of the names in memoriam for them. Of course, the last 3-4 months has been nothing but auction talk all the time. Got that done last Friday, first live one in a couple of years. So awaiting the numbers on that. And of course, the endowment will be working with Scott going forward on some of these grants and how we do that. So that'll, change their day-to-day operations for Jeremy and Barb some and getting used to that and expanding how that goes. Are there any questions anybody has specifically on the endowment?
And as I remember, the financial audit for endowment was acceptable. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, several of the things that have been noted previously have been rectified.
Okay. And this combining of the smaller ones was one of their recommendations.
Okay.
And so they jumped right on that and even working with Colleen's on getting what the plaque will look like for the individual donors for that, for the
Cool.
combining the smaller ones. So they're full steam ahead on working on that.
Okay. Any other questions for Shanda? All right, thank you. Accept your report as presented. There's no other monitoring reports from the administration, so we are reviewing last year or last month's reports. So on page 117 in your booklet. The two monitors that we're looking at are number 10 and number 2. I don't have any additions or corrections to the language. Number 2, actual financial conditions at any time shall not incur fiscal jeopardy or compromise board end priorities. That's pretty standard Carter language for general executive constraint. Number 10 is one that we've had a lot of discussion on. The president shall not fail to ensure a safe and healthy environment on campus. Jody included the explanation again for number 10. It's robust information here. I don't have any concerns about it. Any of you have any comments or questions?
And the athletic safety updates is very thorough, so I don't see any need to do anything different with that.
Yeah.
That gives us the information separated out that we need without it being a separate policy.
Right. Right. And our thoughts going forward was that there is trackable data here that we can watch trends to see if there are things that are changing but then I would say we allow administration and the departments to make their corrections for those things. So it's not our job to do that part.
No, I'm
We just,
impressed with what they provided.
yeah,
I agree. This is very thorough. It goes clear across campus. Includes almost everything.
good job. Thank you. So no changes on those two indicators? Okay, great. I have one other something to talk about. This is the policy suggestion that I brought to the board last month. And this is to be added on to the board job description, and it becomes number 8. And just one little wording change that I incorporated from 1 month ago. Continual board development will include orientation of new board members and ongoing trustee education. And then there's an outline of the expectations there. I'll give you a couple minutes to review it and see if you have any discussion about it. This is a loose leaf piece of paper on your desk.
No. Right here. I really don't think
There it is. Found it.
It kind of look like this. Yeah, okay. I've got one.
On number 2A there, do we need to include the online portion that we came up with? As far as the trustee, new trustee, look. The training. That Bob went through.
So this is the policy. So we can include that if you want to, but thinking that this is something that goes forward. Do you want that specific piece included?
I would say yes. I mean, if we're gonna attend or participate in a special trustee orientation, we gotta after completing the online portion.
Well, I think just because we're doing online now isn't to say that we wouldn't do a different format later.
Right.
I would agree.
So, so if anything, if you wanted to add anything in the format provided, and that gives us leeway to change the format if necessary without having to change the policy. But I don't know if we should go so specific as to say online, because that may not always be the case.
I would entertain just leaving it as is, because we're just setting the expectation that the new board members will attend trustee orientation facilitated by the board chair and the president. And that format can be anything.
Yeah. In person, online, whatever's being necessary.
I also have the lawyer.
That's right.
I don't know if that's because of me.
Hit you from every
You'll
angle.
never know.
Now, do we need to include anything like I know before I got on the board, the whole board had a retreat with law. And went over a bunch of things. That's something we need to include in there too, is a visit, retraining or.
So you're
updating.
talking about policy governance.
Yes.
Yeah. To me, that falls under effective governing. So,
I
but
mean,
we
this one
can,
talks about the new board, right?
I think that's part of the ongoing.
Okay.
Annual retreat, I mean, we've already got it in there for an annual retreat to develop.
That'll work.
um,
Do we need anything about documentation of who attended or? HLC,
It would be included in meeting minutes for a board retreat and still include the attendance. But yeah, those are good points that,
I know Beth and I have been trying to go over what we've attended online. The 3 or 4 sessions that we did.
yeah, we need to include those, don't we?
Oh, I gave mine to Mark.
Great, okay. All right. Are we okay with including this, or do you feel like you need to mull it over a little bit more?
I think it's fun. It's very
It's included.
straightforward.
Generic.
Because one of the things that he is talking about is referred to in my KACC2 report. And that's why I think if there's a special circumstance for those requirements or things, then we just address them as they come up.
Afraid if you put too much in, then it's just that much more
Yeah.
changing we have to do
Yeah.
as
In 2035, they'll say, what was Zoom?
So this should be voted on. If you guys are, if you accept it.
I move that we accept the addition of number 8 for the board title, board policy for our job description.
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the presented addition to board job description number 8. More discussion?
I don't have a problem with it. but I'm still trying to put the rest. And I think this board needs some kind of a way of, I think we've all discussed this. Executive session may be called. I don't like seeing a chairman every year the same person. I think that stymies the growth of the board. This board can have new members real quick with an election. I think we need some kind of a way of designating how the chairman is there and who is going to follow that up. Without, there's always, if you have the same chairman every year, there's somebody here that may want to be the chairman. And they're blocked from that. I have a problem with that. I have a real problem with the same person being chair year after year.
So you would like to see a more clear succession plan?
Yeah, I think
Basically.
that would be, and
Is it,
I don't have an answer on that right now. I've been struggling with it. But
is it possible we pass this as is
Oh,
for now
yes.
and add a number 3 later
yes,
as we
yes,
work through that?
Yes,
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that out tonight. I've visited with everyone in separate, like we did that time. When somebody is gone and we don't have somebody prepared to fill that position, then we haven't done a good job of training the people on the board. The board hasn't matured, I guess is the word I'm looking for. We need a succession where board members are maturing as they're going through that can at any time step in and be the chairman of the board and vice chairman. And I don't have a real clear cut thought in my mind, but I think there needs to be some kind of a succession order that we don't have the same chairman every year. Then it becomes a one-man show instead of the board. And that, a lot of times, if you have the same chairman, board members say, well, I didn't need to put that much effort into it.
Maybe we need
You
to
follow-
start,
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying it very well.
maybe we need to start looking at what some other boards have done for examples and see if there's anything out there that helps guide us to get to where we want to be.
And I'm not saying this is the way to do it, but the Pinney County Commissioners, they elect a new chairman every year. And they have their reasons for doing it that way. But if you have the same person all the time, pretty soon you have board members who are slacking off. If they're not mature, they're not. I think as we have suggested with the president to continue to grow, but we need ways of this board continuing to grow and mature and all members being ready, willing, and able at any time to step into a position that's required. If we're not prepared for it, I leave those comments out here for you all to think about. And if you want to go ahead and vote on this one that we have in front of us, I'm good with that. I just would like to, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see it die. I think we need to find a way of as you said, Shan, there's succession. Not always have the same person. as the chairman. So if you want to go ahead and vote, I'll vote.
All right, all right. All those in favor of the addition to the board job description, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. And Leonard, we can, if you want to do some research to see if we can come up with some suggestions for that and bring it to the board meeting, we'd be glad to entertain your ideas. I think that's a great idea.
I think that's, I'm the one bringing it up. I need to be the one. Present to y'all what you like and dislike.
And I can take a look in
There's lots of.
Carver and see if there's anything there.
About
that.
that we all got, there's information in there, and there's a
Sure.
lot online that I can see. I just know what I'm seeing most of the time. They all say it's best to have a new chairman every year. Y'all can disagree.
No, I think
I'll
it's
work on
definitely
it.
an option. We just don't have any formality around it. We need to do the
I'll work
research
on
to do that.
I'll work on that.
I'll see what I can do. I might help you. I'm not taking it over.
All right, so that's it for item 3. We are on item 4, open comments from the public. None, right? Okay, president's report.
A little bragging session here. Several students and accolades to highlight. First, would like to announce the ambassador scholars that have been selected for this next year. Had several great candidates that came from area high schools. But congratulations to Morgan Hammond of Holcomb and Hayden Jellison of Montezuma. Both of those individuals will be new Bronc-busters out here next fall and were selected to be the ambassador scholars. And will be working with the President's Office and Endowment Association Office in receiving a $2,400 annual scholarship for the 2 years that they attend Garden City Community College. We had 3 college employees who won the National League of Excellence Awards. Congratulations to Linda Hill, who is a programmer analyst, Samantha Sanger, who's English faculty and our assessment coordinator, and Mark Shepner, who's our print shop coordinator, on being selected for this. These came from nominations from fellow colleagues. And this award recognizes outstanding leaders in the community college field who have made a significant difference in the lives of students and in the communities that their college serves. So again, congratulations to those 3 employees. 2 weeks ago in Junction City, not to steal Beth's thunder here, but
It's fine.
we had 2 students, Taryn Teeter and Erica Barone Gomez, who were selected by Phi Theta Kappa to do the 2022 All-American Academic Team. These accolades are based upon academic achievement, leadership, and community service, and they were recognized at the banquet in Junction City 2 weeks ago. Enrollment for fall started today for current students. Spring enrollment still trending up, just right at 2% in credit hours currently. And then on April 29th, enrollment for new students will start for the fall semester. Couple of new, these are really cool things to share here, but I wanted to share this. This was a new award that just came across on email today. But Dennis Mutai, who is a freshman distance runner for us from Kenya, was just named as the National NJCAA Male Athlete of the Week.
Wow.
And it came because it's been a long time. I'll read part of what was included in this distinction, but it's been a long time since an NJCAA athlete ran as fast as Dennis did in the 10,000 meters. He put up a time of 29 minutes, 15 seconds. How long has this been? It's been since 1987 that anybody has ran that fast. That's what Dennis accomplished this last week into Wichita, and now sits number 5 all time on the NJCAA list in the 10,000 meters. He won the race by over 25 seconds. And Dennis also leads the NJCAA 5,000 meter this year as well. This is the first time that a male athlete from Garden City has earned the National Athlete of the Week award in outdoor track and field. So congratulations, Dennis, and tremendous accomplishment. And then lastly, today, Stacy Carr, who's our media faculty, let us know that the GC3 media program has been awarded through a partnership with Cox Communication, been awarded a $10,000 grant that will be used towards program equipment and expansion for this next year. So a lot of great accolades and a lot of great work that's occurring in many of our departments across campus.
How does 10,000 meters correlate to miles? I'm an old timer. We never ran. We never ran meters. We ran yards and miles.
Great. 6.2.
It's about 1 mile for me in 29 minutes.
Oof, yeah,
So
That's
5,000
impressive.
meters would be halfway. 3 point.
3 point, yeah,
5K and the 10K.
yep.
Yeah.
Dr. Ruda, are we doing anything special for the faculty, staff that won those awards? You know, any stipends or things like that that might encourage other
Mhm.
members to really push themselves?
So we actually did recognize these 3 employees at the last all-employee meeting. We called them down front and recognized them. And they were presented with certificates, a gift, and then they also received medallions from the League of Excellence, the national office, that will be presented to them as well. Press release, did a press release on that there as well. So several things just to be able to highlight.
Is there any opportunity to be able to watch the runner? Is there gonna be any more track events here?
We'll host the.
Yay. Okay.
If you can keep up.
Track and field regionals.
Yeah, that's on May 5th.
25th.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a busy weekend. Incidental information, any questions? I think that's the most graduates that we have ever had, isn't it? Apply for, yeah,
They're not done
440,
yet, right?
440.
Yeah.
They're still coming.
Really? Wow.
There's that call thing, Nancy does a good job.
Well, I was on one in particular today going, you need to get this done, young lady.
So now there'll be more.
That's gonna be fun. All right. Report from Pinney County Economic Development.
No report.
Report from KACCT.
I gave you all a sheet because I thought that was easier, and if you have any questions on it. Meeting was in Lincoln City last Friday, along with the Phi Beta Kappa. We had all seen the program. I brought a program back, and it's going down the table for you all to see. Nice service as always. One of the things they had this year where they had 3 students speak. And that was a nice touch. And the one that I wanted to point out to you all on this, the The Promise Act trailer bill is in jeopardy due to disagreement amongst legislatures about the need to include out-of-state students in the program. The out-of-state causes a problem because it was designed for in-state students. And you're all familiar, but if you're not, students can get these scholarships only if they have nothing else. And it pays for tuition, it pays for everything. The students do commit to working in the state 2 years after they graduate. There might, a problem with the out of state is they are so pulled to go back to their home state. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but it has caused little grief here and there. I think that the legislature see it as, oh, well, we could pull them into Kansas and they'll stay here. Not necessarily true. I wanted to point out one thing, Bob, on number 5. The new trustee orientation will be held via Zoom on April 19th at 4 p.m. You've got that if you want to do it. The other choice, if you want to get the indoctrination, is if you want to go to Chanute in late May. But that's on the sheet I gave y'all. That's your choice. I'd say work it out with Brian, whatever you want to do. And it's just, it doesn't take very long, and it just kind of gives you the orientation beyond ours, the statewide thing. That's all I have to say, except that Junction City was not really exciting, particularly Ryan and Colin weren't there to keep me out of trouble. So, but I was kind of yucky, so I didn't get in trouble. Oh, our next meeting, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that, it's on there, but it's June 3rd and 4th in Colby, another exciting meeting. No, Colby, I had some exciting moments when I was in admissions in Colby.
So Beth, I'm reading item D. So we do have a new funding formula?
Yeah,
It's passed the House and the Senate.
right,
Waiting on the governor's signatures.
right, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot to find it out.
Fully funding.
Yeah.
Fully funding, oh, okay.
Right. And one of the things that's amazing, if you all could watch Heather as she does her reports, or as you know what she does. I mean, there are so many things, I hate to mention one group, but I will. The Board of Regents don't have a clue on community colleges and what is available to us and what are our responsibilities and rights. And I mean, she takes them on and she doesn't make them angry. And she does the same thing with the legislative meetings. Things that are brought up are ridiculous, and all she has to do is mention, no, that's not the way it is. That's not the way it's written, or you know, she's amazing. Ryan and I do have to sit down together and do her evaluation.
Tremendous,
Worth every penny. to
tremendous
us.
advocate for community colleges.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Report from Faculty Senate. No report. No report.
They don't like us.
Accreditation update.
Gabe is traveling. Oh, yeah, no, I forgot we talked about that. Yeah, we did. There were 6 of us that attended the HLC annual conference this past week. So we had an opportunity to hear several federal updates, then did get a chance to visit with our HLC liaison. Had some good chance. It has switched from Eric, who we previously had, to a new staff member. But had a great chance to visit with him, and then Mark had a follow-up call with him again this week, just to talk through and be able to answer some questions in preparation for the assurance argument. But overall, we had each of the VPs traveled out there, as well as Samantha Sanger and Jamie Durler. who's our distance ed director. So that was a good opportunity to hear a lot about what's on the horizon, some changes within accreditation, but also doing some networking and connection with fellow colleagues there then as well. Other things that
One thing we did learn, which was a change from previous instruction from HLC, is that our visit in November is not an assurance review visit, as would be typical in year 4, year 5. It is a reaffirmation of accreditation, which would typically be your year 10 visit. And it is classified as a reaffirmation because we are an institution coming off of probation. And so really that doesn't change much, except for we are now required, we now understand we are required to submit the federal compliance portion of a standard visit, which I don't know that we are afraid of, certainly not afraid of, but it just adds another component to the work that will be happening in the fall as we head into November. There will be some updates to federal compliance requirements. There are some small changes to protecting and guaranteeing student identity in our online systems and services, particularly in online education, but really across the board. There are a couple other of items. We're happy to update you about them as we learn more. As we move through this spring and the summer, the updated federal compliance requirements will be uploaded to the Higher Learning Commission website. We'll be able to really get our arms around them. So that was, I think, the major piece of learning that's probably the most timely for us. But other than that, I second Dr. Ruda's thoughts that it was really good to actually get out and network with people, attend a lot of really good sessions. So yeah, it was a good trip.
So then new federal requirements, we would still be responsible for showing our compliance or getting our compliance started.
No, it's, so we have gone through the federal compliance review process there last cycle. So really it's looking at elements that you should have in place, policies you should have on how your credits transfer, policies that we have faculty qualification in place.
Right.
So there's a multitude of different things that they're verifying that you are doing, and you're giving evidence to show that you do have these aspects in place. So it's really more of an audit that they're going through, and you're providing evidence that you meet the federal compliance.
Sounds doable, easy.
I certainly think so. There are some components of it that are new, but they are only new to be included in federal compliance. They're not new HLC policies. It's just they're introduced, they get strengthened, eventually they become a part of. So they're things that we're prepared for.
Okay.
And we have to do this every year.
No, we'll do it this time, and then we'll do it once again for our 10-year visit, which will be in 2027, maybe.
Yep.
I'm not a math.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you guys attended that. Just the attendance also shows our interest in compliance. So, good job. All right, ownership linkage. First thing I would remind everybody that the community college is presenting at the chamber breakfast on Wednesday, April 20th. Yeah.
First.
Do we need to make reservations for that through the chamber?
Nope, that's something different.
I mean, I usually
No.
do for the breakfast, but I didn't.
I thought that was.
No, if you let us know tonight that you're going to be
I'll be
attending,
there. Leonard will probably be there.
then we could let Micah know.
Well, I better go keep these two out of trouble. I'll go.
Do you want to go,
Yeah, I told Ryan earlier.
Bob?
What was the date again?
Wednesday, April 20th, breakfast.
It's normally held at the Clarion.
A week from tomorrow.
In the banquet rooms.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, breakfast opens at 7
7.
and then the meeting starts at 7:30.
Yeah, I've got it down.
It's a date.
Somebody put you down, huh?
Yeah.
So we're going to use that as an opportunity to ask for input from the attendees there, as well as Dr. Ruda is going to brag about the college. So, other ownership linkage.
I have a couple of things I wanted to report on the two, what do they call it? The different programs or advisory boards. I went to the early childhood education program on March 28th. And there were a couple people there that had or sweatshirts on, and they were from Liberal. And they are on the children, what do they call it? Oh.
Children Care, that network.
Yeah, they're,
Yeah,
yeah,
Early
they're on
Child
that,
Network.
and they, I guess, it was this woman and her daughter-in-law, and they have a daycare center. And they're on that board down there. The other one I went to was the industrial maintenance mechanic program on April 6th. The locale from Empirical Foods, Jenny Hogan, is that how you say her name? Anyway,
I'm not
she's,
positive on the last
she
name, but
stood up and she was so good because supportive of the college, talking to these people about how we will get students only if those high school counselors trust us and know us. And I mean, we clapped for her when she was through. She was very, very good, and they're very supportive. The other thing that I wanted to point out is just, I mean, I've seen it on Facebook, and that's the instrumental music going out to the high schools. I loved their letter of intent celebration the other day with a student from, I believe it was Syracuse. They were signing that student to a letter of intent, and I thought, how neat is that? So please commend them to us from the board, or at least from me, because that's amazing.
definitely pass that along.
I attended the advisory board on ag, whatever it was. It really enlightened to me. I really learned a lot. I can't remember the girl's name. Redheaded.
Julie Farr.
Yeah, she gave a really, really good report. And it was very enlightening to me. A lot of the people there I knew. And the other thing, and I know you all probably get tired of hearing this, but ownership linkage, one of the things I keep hearing is go play basketball and they're looking at it online and they come out dressed in black. And the announcer says, well, they're black and gold like Cali County or whoever else. Our colors are brown and gold. And I'm one that continues to talk about pride. And you've got to have pride in the institution that you're here for. I've heard the story for 40 years. We can't get brown. We can get brown. Well, it takes too long.
Wyoming does.
Well, it takes a long time to get it. Okay, start early. What costs more? Okay, then we maybe need to talk to the people that are in charge and see if we need to put more money in the budget. I go out and I talk to a lot of people, and I tell you what, I'm proud of this institution. And I'm not afraid to tell them so. When they have questions, they complain about the lights, I go get their report and take it and give it to them. Say, hey, here's what the lights are. What you're saying isn't true. But I'm proud of this institution and I'm proud of our colors. If our coaches aren't proud of it, then they need to come to an understanding somewhere. If the students don't like the colors that we have, then maybe they're at the wrong school. I don't know, but I think that needs to be brought home to the athletic department that our colors are brown and gold. It's not gray, it's not black. It's brown and gold. Go to watch a KU team. What are they gonna wear? They might have a white uniform, but they're either red or blue. All of the community colleges, they spout their colors. The only exception is soccer, and who knows what color they're gonna wear. And that's not just Garden City, that's all soccer teams. But I hear people, they'll say, well, yeah, they said we're out in our black and gold again. Well, we're not black. Said all I'm gonna say.
To follow that discussion with Mike, regarding the scholarships budget, that was something that we brought up. Every meeting with coaches, that brown is our color. Get ahead of the game.
Well, who enforces that? Do you enforce it? Well, and I go back and Bob wasn't here yet, but Brian McNeely came in and he had Tennessee gold, which was orange. And Dr. Saffel raised hell and said, who signed that purchase order? Dr. Saffel signed it. That's when it ended. But that's when it came out very plain. Our colors, the official colors, are sealed brown and new gold.
And I remember when,
You remember the.
yeah,
orange
and I
colors.
remember earlier than that, when Homer Soldier came. And they showed up with red shirts and gold pants and that first football game, and everybody said, oh my gosh. That changed fast by the second game.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I went to an automotive technology advisory board meeting. And just real quickly, this group met on Wednesday, March 9th in the John Collins Building. There were 18 people in attendance and 3 in Zoom in. President Ruda gave a brief statement on how well this group had worked together, as a result have produced very positive results. He also mentioned that the proposed fleet building, as well as the new STEM building, which will hold the robotics and cybersecurity as well as crop studies. Dr. Malone was also present and thanked everyone for a great job that they were doing, as well as they support that they had in this endeavor. The board was also informed of the HLC Campus Visit on November 7th at 9th. And I got a bunch of other things, but I said I'd keep it short. The new chair is Alan Garcia from Syracuse, Kansas.
Madam Chair, I attended the Allied Health in your place April 1st, and Glenda Owens was the one that was spearheading that. We talked about a new certificate program, the Certified Medical Administrative Specialist. There was 3 members from St. Catherine's there. They have something similar in their Centura group, but there they have to pay quite a bit of money to get test, which the group that Glenda had been working with, it would be all part of the class. So they did, since this is a Perkins class, they did vote and voted to go ahead and go through the process of trying to get that on the books. Everybody was in favor. There's no, St. Catherine's would send people, and Glenda also said that there was like 200 people that went through the CMA program that may not have went on to nursing stuff that we can reach out to try to get them back into this, because it's right after CMA. The only other thing I had for ownership linkage, I know in the past we've talked about upgrading the rodeo grounds a little bit. One of these days we need to build a new facility. I think to host, we're hosting people from all over the country coming in there, and it's too small. So just a thought for future projects, maybe. And on the upcoming calendar dates on May 5th, doesn't the DPAC have their award ceremony that night or not? Yeah.
That is, you're talking to me.
No, I'm talking about not DPAC, but DPS. They usually have it the night before graduation. So-
We'll confirm that. Yeah.
And do we have a time on the nursing graduation ceremony? Okay,
Usually about 10.
And
I have a question on the Hall of Fame reception on the 22nd of April. Says it's at DPAC. I thought it was at Southwind. Okay, and the other thing, I have a commitment in Wichita that afternoon at 2. I can't be here in time for the lunch, but I'm sure or dinner, but I'm sure gonna break my neck to get back for the rest of it, so.
Are the tickets right with Southwind on it? Are the tickets right with Southwind on the tickets? I bought my tickets.
Yeah.
I'll look at it.
So if I won't get here in time for dinner, can I get into the rest of it without a ticket? Okay.
you got to buy an extra ticket.
You have to do the dishes.
Oh, I can do the dishes.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll make you do the dishes.
Okay. I hate to miss it, but, and I asked Kristen, that's my daughter, that was when we had athletic trainers before, we had kids that did it, and they had the Kramer training and then advanced training. And Keith Smart was here when she was doing, and she told him one day, she said, Keith, you are such a pansy. You won't put your foot in that ice. Now get it in there. I said, you want me to remind you of that? She said, no, please don't.
it's still Jones is the only one not coming. Is that correct? Because of pregnancy.
I have one more addition to ownership linkage. Dr. Root and I attended a public entities meeting again that talked about community meeting places and everyone is interested in the college because we are planning our community facilities. But part of the conversation also was about updating the exhibition building, the 3I building, and updating the parking lot and looking at the future needs for Garden City as far as attracting conferences or athletic events or other professional meetings and what we can do and how big we want to work on for attracting that. The outcome was that the county is going to work on the 3I building, the exhibition building, to at least put air conditioning in there because it's designated as a community shelter. So air conditioning needs to be put in there, but still thinking about other needs for the future. And then the Convention Bureau is going to be working on an assessment of what else we can bring to Garden City and what it would take. Did I miss anything?
I think they refer to that as the Finney County Exhibition Building. Now I get chewed out for calling it the
3I.
Yeah.
They bailed on us. We don't need to mention 3I anymore.
I heard exhibition building and people go, you mean the 3I building?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Few advisory meetings coming up. Nursing is April 21st. Dave, the Fire Advisory Board, April 24th.
No, we already had it.
We already did it. Okay. Leonard Carpentry. Okay. Welding. Yeah, welding, Bob. And then Beth, computer science, maybe?
When's
Is that
it?
already did it?
No, we haven't had that one, but they don't have it scheduled yet. I don't
Right.
think.
Which one's that?
Jody, she'll give me.
She's
that.
ready to say something.
So she, look at, she's ready.
I know.
And we also have EMS is doing a separate one this year.
Okay.
This,
I mean, Jody just has me on automatic dial. Pedro, show up.
Great.
and next fall we'll do a combined one.
Okay. Just a reminder, do your meeting assessment last month's meeting assessment for all of the questions. Number 1, number 2, number 4, number 5, number 7. We had 5 of 5 said yes. On the question of confidentiality, it was 4 of 5 said yes. On the HLC process, we all scored 4. So we're getting there. Any comments about the evaluation, or anybody want to add any comments for last month or this month? The upcoming calendar dates are listed on our agenda. I paste them on your refrigerator.
We'll just need our own little Jodies to
Yeah.
keep us in line.
Okay.
We all rely.
Well,
on
you know
Jody.
what? She has a hard time with me. So I'm not sure she's got the strength to do the rest of it.
All right, and then I would tell you the board retreat, the dates are set. This is going to be June 28th and 29th. It is Tuesday night, Wednesday is what we're planning. So Shanda, you and me will have to tell our bosses to let us off. for Wednesday. And
Not real concerned about that, yeah. I'm the boss's boss.
I am
so.
the boss. Anything else, guys?
I don't believe so.
All right, I am declaring the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Whatever you want to do with these.